On my 17th birthday, my parents kicked me out, so my pregnant sister's boyfriend could move into my room. I posted everything online. The truth blew up, and now my grandparents cut them off and gave my aunt custody of me. Hey, Reddit. My parents kicked me out on my 17th birthday to make room for my sister's boyfriend and their baby. Thought I was done with them, but turns out they weren't done with me. Let me take you back to where it all started. My name's Michelle. I turned 17 this morning. It's just the four of us at home, me, my parents, and my older sister Zoe. She's 23 and pregnant. Her boyfriend Chris has basically moved in already. My parents treat him like part of the family, which is kind of funny since they barely treat me like I am. I woke up thinking maybe they'd at least say happy birthday. No presents, just words. The kitchen was quiet except for the hum of the fridge. Dad sat at the table with his laptop. Mom scrolled on her phone. No cake, no morning birthday girl. Dad cleared his throat. Michelle, sit down for a sec. That tone, serious and rehearsed, told me this wasn't good. He closed the laptop and folded his hands. So, Chris lost his apartment lease. Since Zoe's due soon, we thought it'd be best if they both stayed here for a while. I waited for the so what part. Mom jumped in. We're thinking it might be easier if you stay at Aunt Lisa's for a bit. You've always liked it there. I blinked. Wait, what do you mean stay there? Dad met my eyes. Just for a few months. They need the space. You're getting older. It's time to be independent. Independent? I'm still in high school. You have a guest room, I said. Why can't they use that? Dad sighed like I was the unreasonable one. Chris will need a proper room, and the guest room will be for the baby. It just makes sense. I stared at them. So you're kicking me out for them? Mom said softly. You'll be with family, Michelle. Yeah, someone else's family, I muttered. Dad's tone sharpened. Stop being dramatic. You'll still have everything you need. We'll cover your expenses. You just can't stay here right now. That line stuck like it was nothing to throw me out on my birthday. Zoe came in then, half asleep, wearing an oversized hoodie. What's going on? Dad told her, we're moving Michelle to Lisa's for a while until the baby's here. Zoe's eyes widened. Wait, what? I didn't ask you to do that. Mom said, honey, it's easier this way. You need peace, and Chris needs space. Zoe looked at me. Guilty, maybe. But then Chris walked in behind her. Same hoodie style, messy beard, that smug grin he always had. He leaned against the wall, arms crossed, saying nothing, but his face said everything. That was it for me. I pushed my chair back. Fine, whatever. Happy birthday to me. Upstairs, I started packing. I didn't even know what to take. Some clothes, my console, my guitar, a few notebooks. The bookshelf I built last summer stood against the wall, dusty and crooked. I stared at it, realizing they'd probably give it to Chris. I found a cracked photo frame under my desk, me and Zoe at a carnival years ago. We looked like a normal pair of sisters then. I packed it without thinking. Downstairs, the TV was on, but no one was watching. The washer buzzed in the laundry room. It was like the house didn't even notice I was leaving. Dad helped load my bags into the trunk like we were going on vacation. Mom forced a smile. Lisa will love having you. Don't forget to thank her. The drive was quiet. I counted traffic lights between our house and the freeway. Dad tried small talk about school, my grades, the weather. I just stared out the window, watching my reflection shrink in the glass every time we stopped. When we pulled into Lisa's driveway, my stomach twisted. Her house was small and yellow, the front yard full of potted plants. It smelled like detergent and fresh soil, cleaner than home ever did. Lisa opened the door, smiling. Happy birthday. You didn't tell me you were coming today. When they finally left, I heard Dad tell Mom in the car, see, that went fine. Lisa helped me carry my bags inside. The spare room smelled faintly like lavender and cardboard. There was a small desk, a mismatched chair, a single poster of some mountain landscape. She smiled gently. Unpack. Get some rest. We'll talk later. When she left, I sat on the bed, phone in hand, staring at the lock screen. 17 years old, kicked out by my parents on my birthday. When Dad's car disappeared down the street, the quiet hit hard. Aunt Lisa stood in the doorway, hands on her hips, a kind smile on her face. But her eyes looked confused. You hungry? She asked. Not really, I said, though my stomach was empty. She went to the kitchen anyway. I'm making tea. Sit with me for a bit. The kitchen smelled like cinnamon and lemon cleaner. A small radio played a soft pop song in the background. She leaned on the counter, watching me. "So," she said slowly, "your mom said this was your idea, that you wanted a little space." I froze. She said what? "She told me you wanted to stay here for a while," Lisa said. "Said you needed independence." I let out a short laugh. That's not even close to what happened. Her eyebrows pulled together. "All right, tell me then." So I told her everything. The birthday morning, how they told me to move out because Zoe's boyfriend lost his apartment, how Dad said I needed to grow up. I told her Zoe didn't even ask for it. Lisa's expression changed as I talked. By the end, her jaw was tight and her teaspoon was clinking hard against the cup. "She texted yesterday that you wanted some space, but she didn't say you were showing up this morning." "They said this was your idea," she said finally. "I didn't even know until this morning." She muttered something under her breath and pushed a mug toward me. "Drink that. You're not going anywhere. We'll deal with this later." After dinner, I unpacked in the spare room. It smelled like clean laundry and old wood. There was a wobbly chair, a flickering lamp, and a window that looked out at a broken streetlight. I put my clothes in the dresser and set my guitar against the wall. The bed creaked when I sat down. I checked my phone. Group chat full of messages. "Yo, where you at? Is it true your sister's guy is moving in?" I didn't answer. I opened my photo gallery instead. The first photo was from last summer. Mom, Dad, Zoe, and Chris smiling at a barbecue. I took the picture, but wasn't in it. Dad had posted it with family time. I locked my phone. Later, I called my friend Matt. We joked a bit until he asked, "You really living with your aunt now?" "Yeah, apparently I wanted this." He didn't reply for a second, then just said, "That sucks, Michelle." When I hung up, I heard Lisa outside my door. She knocked once and opened it halfway. "You good?" "Yeah, just talking to a friend." She leaned on the frame. "So it's true, huh? They didn't even ask you. Not once." She sighed, crossed her arms. "All right, that's it." She walked to the kitchen, grabbed her phone, and hit call. I followed quietly. She put it on speaker. Dad answered after a few rings. Voice fake, cheerful. "Hey, Lisa." "Hey," she said, flat. "We need to talk about what really happened with Michelle." "What do you mean?" "I mean, you lied to me. You said this was her idea." Dad sighed. "Lisa, it's complicated. We thought this would be better for everyone." "No," she cut him off. "You thought it'd be easier for you. You used me to fix your mess." Mom's voice came through faintly. "Lisa, please, let's not make this dramatic." "You kicked your kid out on her birthday and lied about it," Lisa said, calm but sharp. "That's not dramatic. That's disgusting." Silence. Then a click. They'd hung up. Lisa set her phone down, still tense but steady. "Well, guess that answers that." I didn't know what to say. She looked at me, and her face softened. "You're staying here as long as you need. I don't care what they say." "Thanks," I said. "I've got simple house rules," she said. "Keep your stuff clean. Don't stay out all night. Finish school, and talk to me if something's wrong. Deal?" Deal. It was weird. Those were the first real rules I'd heard that made sense. She went to bed early since she worked mornings. I stayed up a bit. Window cracked open. The air outside smelled like rain and someone's laundry. I could hear pipes ticking and a dog barking down the street. I texted Matt my new address just in case. Then I turned off the lamp. The sheets smelled like detergent and something floral, way different from home. I fell asleep with my jaw unclenched and my shoulders not guarding anything. Not happy either, just calm, like I was finally in a place that didn't make me feel unwanted. It had been 3 days since I moved in with Aunt Lisa. School was fine, quiet even. But at night, my head kept replaying that morning in the kitchen. Dad saying, "You're basically an adult." It felt like someone had taken a snapshot of me being humiliated and left it there. That night, I sat at the small desk in the spare room. The desk lamp threw a thin, uneven halo that made the walls look warped. My phone sat next to my guitar pick and a half-empty mug. I opened the camera app without thinking. I didn't plan anything. I just started talking. "Hey," I said quietly. "I just turned 17 a few days ago. My parents decided that meant I was ready to be on my own. They told me to move out on my birthday so my sister's boyfriend could have my room." I gave a small laugh that didn't sound like one. "They said it's temporary, but I know what that means. Anyway, I'm fine. Just needed to say it somewhere." I left out names and places. No point dragging Lisa into this. Then I remembered I'd tapped voice memos on my phone when that kitchen talk started. Later, I clipped one line, Chris saying, Life's tough, man. She'll learn it. It fit too well. I added it quietly at the end and trimmed the video. My account had maybe 30 followers, mostly from gaming servers. I hit post. At first, nothing happened. Then a notification, then another. By midnight, there were 50 likes and a dozen comments. Same happened to me, girl. Stay strong. You didn't deserve that. I didn't reply, but read every word. I wasn't used to strangers caring. When I woke up, the video had blown up, at least for me. A few thousand views. Random usernames arguing in the comments. Someone wrote, "I hope your parents see this." Apparently it had been shared to another platform. At breakfast, Lisa noticed I was quieter than usual. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said, "just didn't sleep much." She nodded. She never pushed. By then, a side thread was already playing detective over that busted streetlight in the background, tossing out cross streets like they were clues. Back in my room, I opened my phone and saw it. Chris's name. He'd commented on a repost. "Some people love attention. Family stuff shouldn't be aired online. She's being dramatic." The replies under his comment were brutal. People called him out instantly. Someone recognized his profile picture from Zoe's account and connected the dots. I sat there half shocked, half laughing. He'd basically exposed himself trying to defend his ego. Then my phone started buzzing nonstop. Mom, Dad, Zoe, all texting at once. "Take the video down. This is embarrassing. What did we ever do to deserve this? Michelle, can we talk, please?" I didn't answer. Lisa was folding laundry when I walked in. She looked up. "You look like you saw a ghost." I showed her the screen. "It's kind of blowing up." She read it, then shrugged. "Well, you didn't say anything untrue." "They're mad," I said. "Let them be mad," she replied calmly. "They'll get over it or they won't. You just told your side." Back in my room, I muted their numbers. The second the silence hit, I felt relief. My phone kept lighting up with notifications. I didn't know half the usernames, but a few stood out. My mom did the same. "You're not alone, girl. You're better off. Trust me." By evening, I stopped checking numbers and just scrolled slowly. It wasn't about going viral. It was weirdly comforting proof that I wasn't crazy or oversensitive like Dad always said. Around 2 a.m., I was still awake, lying on my side with my phone on the nightstand. The blue light from the screen made the walls glow faintly. A new message popped up from Zoe. "Please just call me. I need to explain something." I stared at it, but didn't type back. I wasn't ready. Then another message came through from an unknown number. The preview showed only the first words. "Chris, you think you're smart? You made things worse for everyone." I blocked the number without opening it. When I finally put my phone down, the room was dark except for the faint orange streetlight outside. I could still hear the hum of the heater and a dog barking in the distance. It hit me that I'd changed everything with one short video. I wasn't sure if it was brave or stupid, but for once, I didn't care what they thought. I turned the phone face down. The faint glow reflected off the desk and faded as the notifications stopped. That was the first night I didn't feel like I'd been replaced, just heard. By the next morning, everyone at school had seen the video. I could tell from the looks people gave me, half curious, half sorry. A few nodded, like they didn't know what to say. I just nodded back, pretending it didn't bother me. Matt found me at my locker. "Dude, that thing's everywhere," he said. "My cousin saw it on her feed." "Yeah, I know," I said. He lowered his voice. "Your parents text you?" "They won't stop calling. I'm not answering." Classes dragged, but it felt normal enough until the final bell. I walked outside, backpack slung over one shoulder, and froze. My parents were waiting at the main gate. Dad had his arms crossed. Mom held her phone tight like she'd been pacing. Even from a distance, they looked angry. Matt saw them too. "You want me to stay?" "Yeah," I said, "just in case." We walked over. A couple of friends followed without being asked. When my parents spotted me, they headed straight our way. "Michelle," Dad called, voice sharp. "We need to talk now." I stopped. "What do you want?" Dad glanced at my friends. "Not here. Get in the car so we can talk privately." "I'm not getting in the car." Mom's voice tried to sound calm. "We're not here to argue. We just need to talk about this video. It's gotten out of hand." "Out of hand for who?" I asked. "You or me?" "Michelle, please," she said. "You made your father look—" Dad cut her off. "We came to fix this." I laughed once. "You want to fix your image, not me." Students were slowing down to watch. Dad noticed and dropped his voice. "You need to come home." We'll talk properly, without everyone watching. You only care because people found out, I said. You didn't care before. His jaw clenched. Watch your tone. Matt stepped closer beside me. I'm not going anywhere, I said. I live with Aunt Lisa now. Another voice spoke behind me. Everything okay here? It was Mr. Jacobs, the school counselor. He must have seen from his window. Dad tried to smile. Everything's fine. Just a family discussion. Mr. Jacobs looked at me. Michelle? I'm fine, I said, but I don't want to go with them. Mr. Jacobs nodded. Then you don't have to. If you'd like, we can talk in my office. Dad's jaw tightened. That's not necessary. It's up to Michelle, Jacobs said. Mom forced a smile. Maybe we can all talk together. No, I said. Mr. Jacobs stayed nearby, just watching. Dad sighed hard. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Come home for one evening. We'll talk like a family. I already have a home, I said. You made me leave the last one. Mom whispered. You're being cruel. I was kicked out on my birthday, I said. And I'm cruel? She looked down. Dad shifted as a few students lingered nearby. He spoke again, quieter. If you want to stay with Lisa, fine, but that video has to come down. It's humiliating. No, I said flatly. It's the truth. Michelle, enough. Then stop pretending this is about me. You're just embarrassed. The air went heavy. Even the traffic noise faded. Dad tried again. Just 10 minutes in the car, that's all I'm asking. I stepped back. No, I'm done. Matt and my friends stayed behind me, silent but steady. Mr. Jacobs came back over. I think it's best if everyone goes their separate ways, he said firmly. Michelle's made her choice. Dad glared but didn't argue. Fine. He turned to me. You're making a mistake. Maybe, I said, but at least it's mine. They left without another word. When they were gone, my knees felt weak. Matt put a hand on my shoulder. You good? Yeah, I said, even though I wasn't. Mr. Jacobs asked if I wanted to come inside. I nodded. In his office, he poured me a glass of water. You handled that better than most adults would have, he said. Want me to call your aunt? She's working, I said. I'll text her later. He nodded. All right, just know you've got people here who will back you up. Thanks, I said quietly. After he left, I sat for a minute, staring at the wall. The air smelled like dry erase markers. A half-torn flyer about college hung crooked on the bulletin board. When I finally left, the hallways were empty. My hands still shook a little. Outside, Matt waited near the steps. He didn't speak, just walked beside me. For the first time, I told my parents no, and actually meant it. It didn't feel like victory, but it felt real. A week after the scene at school, Aunt Lisa told me we had an appointment to talk to someone about the situation. I didn't ask who until we pulled up to a small building with a gold plaque that read Mitchell and Horn Legal Services. Inside, the place smelled like paper and coffee. A tall man in glasses shook Lisa's hand. Good morning, Ms. Collins. You must be Michelle. I nodded. His office was small but stacked with books. He talked for a while about guardianship, documentation, consent forms, and school transfers. Lisa listened carefully, jotting notes. When he said, "We'll need proof of neglect or abandonment," my stomach twisted. That word, abandonment, sounded too dramatic, even if it was true. Lisa handed him a folder. I caught sight of printed texts from Dad, screenshots, even copies of school emails from Mr. Jacobs. She'd already gathered everything. The lawyer looked impressed. You're organized. That'll help. Lisa smiled slightly. I'm not letting them mess this up again. I stayed quiet, only answering direct questions. How long I'd lived there, if I felt safe, how often my parents contacted me. When we finished, he said, if your parents push back, it could take time, but you're doing the right thing by keeping records. On the drive home, I asked, you think they'll fight it? She kept her eyes on the road. Knowing your father? Probably. That's why we're getting ahead. Back home, her phone buzzed nonstop. She handed it to me. Dad's texts were long. You don't need to make this into a circus. Family doesn't take each other to lawyers. You're poisoning her against us. Mom's were shorter. Why are you doing this? She's still our daughter. You can't just take her. Lisa scrolled through, calm as ever. Then she took screenshots and emailed them to herself. They can text all they want. I'm saving everything. I hesitated. Maybe I should go somewhere else till they cool off. Her tone snapped firm. No, you're not moving again. You didn't do anything wrong. Something about how she said it hit me, like she actually saw the difference between being a problem and being blamed for one. That night after dinner, I got a text from Zoe. I didn't know about the birthday thing until someone sent me your video. I really need to talk to you, please. I stared at it, then typed back, where? She sent a cafe name downtown. Lisa asked if I wanted her to come, but I said no. I'll text if anything weird happens. The cafe smelled like burnt espresso and vanilla syrup. Zoe was already there, sitting by the window. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, one hand on her stomach. When she saw me, she smiled faintly. Hey. Hey. For a while, neither of us spoke. Then she said, I didn't know they told you to leave that day. They told me you wanted to live with Lisa for school. I nodded. They told her the same thing. Her eyes widened. They did? Yeah, they lied to everyone. Zoe rubbed her forehead. I should have known. I believed them because they said I shouldn't stress. I thought staying out of it was better than making it worse. You believed them your whole life, I said. She paused, then nodded. You're right. After a moment, she said quietly, I know I wasn't a good sister. I let them treat you like you didn't matter. I thought ignoring it was safer. I didn't respond right away. I'm sorry, Michelle, she said finally. Really? I don't need a big apology, I said. Just be honest from now on. I will, she said. I also need to figure out what I'm doing with Chris. Things are complicated. I didn't ask. I already had an idea. She looked up again. You okay with Lisa? Yeah. It's the first time I feel like someone actually wants me there. Her eyes watered. Good, you deserve that. We talked a little longer about the baby, school, how fast everything fell apart. Before leaving, she said, Thanks for meeting me. I was scared you wouldn't. I almost didn't, I admitted. She gave a small, sad smile. Fair enough. When I got home, Lisa was at the kitchen table surrounded by papers. She looked up. How'd it go? Better than I expected, I said. She didn't know what they did. Lisa nodded. I figured. Your sister's not mean, just blind when it comes to them. I sat down across from her. She wasn't angry, just focused, calm in a way I'd never seen an adult be during a family mess. Her phone buzzed again. She ignored it. Let them talk, she said. We'll keep doing the right thing. For the first time, that actually sounded believable. It was late Friday night when my phone started buzzing. I was sitting on the couch next to Aunt Lisa, half watching some reality show rerun while she sorted bills. The caller ID said Zoe. Lisa looked up. You going to answer? Yeah, I said, swiping the screen. Hey. Her voice was shaky. Are you busy? No. No, what's wrong? She exhaled hard. Chris, I just heard something and I can't stop shaking. I stood up and walked into the kitchen for privacy. What happened? She hesitated. He was on a call with one of his friends. Didn't know I was in the hallway. He was laughing, bragging, actually, that he convinced Mom and Dad to send you away so we could settle in properly before the baby. My grip tightened on the counter. He what? Yeah, she said quietly. He said you were dead weight and that Mom and Dad agreed it was better to get you out early so there'd be less drama later. For a few seconds, I didn't know what to say. So it wasn't even them, I said. It was his idea. He pushed for it, she said. They went along with it. There was a pause. I could hear her breathing fast. Then, in the background, Chris's voice shouted something muffled, probably asking who she was talking to. Is he there right now? I asked. Yeah, she whispered. He's mad because I confronted him. He said it's not a big deal, that you'd move out eventually anyway. He doesn't even think he did anything wrong. Then I heard his voice clearly, louder this time. Zoe, stop making a scene. She's fine. She's living like a king at your aunt's. I didn't say anything. The call was still live, and I could hear the argument unravel on the other end. Chris, you're disgusting, Zoe snapped. You talked my parents into kicking my sister out because you wanted more space. He laughed. I was being practical. You're 8 months pregnant. She's a kid. She'll survive. There was a thud, like a chair hitting the wall. Get out, Zoe shouted. I mean it. Pack your stuff and go. Seriously, you're throwing me out now? Yes, she said, now. There was rustling and muttering, then the sound of a door slamming. When the noise stopped, Zoe spoke again, voice small but clear. He's gone. I stayed silent, trying to catch up to what just happened. He stuffed a few shirts in a duffel and texted my parents, she said. By morning, he was sleeping on their couch. Just until he finds a place, Mom said. Of course, they drove him everywhere after that. She sighed. You were right about him, Michelle. I should have seen it. He's selfish. He used all of us. You don't need to explain, I said. I kind of figured that out a while ago. I'm so sorry, she said, for not believing you, for letting him treat you like that. It's fine, I said softly. Just focus on you and the baby. You don't deserve that kind of stress. Neither did you, she said. The line went quiet for a moment before she added, I'm staying at a friend's tonight. I'll figure the rest out later. I just needed to tell you what really happened." "I'm glad you did," I said. "Thanks for picking up," she whispered, then hung up. I stood there for a bit, staring at the black screen. My chest felt tight. Not angry tight, just heavy. When I walked back into the living room, Lisa muted the TV. "Everything okay?" I told her what happened. Every word. Her expression didn't change until I got to the part about Chris bragging. Then she shook her head. "Unbelievable. Some people just have no shame." She leaned back in her chair, arms crossed. "You know what? Good for your sister for kicking him out. Maybe now she'll finally see your parents for who they are." "Yeah," I said quietly. She got up and patted my shoulder. "You want tea?" I nodded. While she filled the kettle, my phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't Zoe. It was a number I didn't recognize, but looked familiar. I answered cautiously. "Michelle?" It was Grandpa. His voice was calm but serious. "Hi, sweetheart. Your aunt told us a bit of what's been going on. We just wanted to hear from you directly." I swallowed. "Yeah, it's been a lot." Grandma's voice joined in softly on speaker. "We're very sorry, dear. We didn't know how bad things had gotten." I sat down at the table. "It's fine now. I'm staying with Aunt Lisa. She's been great." "That's good," Grandpa said. "We're disappointed in your parents, deeply. We talked to them earlier today, and it wasn't pleasant." My heart sped up. "You did?" "Yes," Grandma said. "They tried to justify it, but there's no excuse. We told them until they can treat you with basic respect, they won't be hearing from us." I didn't know how to respond, so I just said, "Thanks." Grandpa cleared his throat. "We want you to focus on school. If you need anything, books, clothes, money, tell Lisa. We'll take care of it. You don't need to ask your parents for a thing." "I appreciate it," I said, voice low. Grandma added, "And don't answer their messages if they start up again. You don't owe them conversations right now." I wasn't planning to. They both chuckled lightly, trying to lift the mood. Then Grandpa said, "We're proud of how you've handled all this. You've shown more maturity than they have." That one hit different. I mumbled a thank you again, then said goodnight. When I hung up, Lisa set a mug of tea in front of me. "They called you?" "Yeah," I said. "They told me they talked to my parents, and they're helping with stuff if I need it." Lisa smiled faintly. "Told you, good people stick around. The loud ones just make noise." I nodded, wrapping my hands around the mug. The warmth felt grounding. After she went to bed, I washed the cup in the sink. Even though she said to leave it, the water ran warm over my fingers, the sound filling the quiet house. I stood there a while, not thinking about Chris or my parents for once, just the steady sound of water hitting the porcelain. Lisa's words from earlier came back to me, soft but certain. "You don't have to earn basic kindness." For the first time, I actually believed her. It happened 2 weeks after the call from my grandparents. It was a Saturday morning, calm and sunny. Aunt Lisa was in the kitchen doing dishes, humming quietly. I was in the living room finishing a school project when a loud knock hit the door. 3 heavy knocks spaced like someone meant business. Lisa turned off the faucet and gave me a look. "Expecting anyone?" I shook my head. She dried her hands and went to the door. The second she opened it, her shoulders stiffened. On the porch stood my parents. Zoe wasn't there. Behind them on the sidewalk, Chris leaned against their car with his arms crossed, pretending not to listen. He had been crashing at my parents' place since Zoe threw him out. They'd all gotten out of the same car like this was some kind of field trip. Mom started first, voice shaky but angry. "Lisa, we need to talk to our daughter." Lisa didn't move from the doorway. "Then talk here." Dad's jaw tightened. "We're not doing this on a porch. Tell her to come outside." I stepped into the hallway where they could see me. "I can hear you fine from here." Mom's eyes flicked to me, softening just a little. "Michelle, honey, can we please come in? This isn't the kind of thing we should talk about in public." Lisa's tone stayed calm. "You can say whatever you need to say right there." Dad's voice rose. "This isn't your business, Lisa. This is between us and our daughter." She didn't flinch. "The second you dropped her off here, it became my business." He exhaled through his nose and turned back to me. "Michelle, we came because this video mess has gone too far. People at work know about it. Family won't talk to us. You need to take it down." "No," I said. He blinked like he hadn't expected that simple answer. "Excuse me?" "I said no," I repeated. "It's staying up." Mom stepped forward. "You don't understand how much damage this has done. Everyone thinks we're terrible people." Lisa spoke before I could. "You are terrible people for what you did. You don't get to rewrite it now that everyone found out." Dad glared at her. "Stay out of this." She crossed her arms. "Not possible. She lives here now." He looked at me again, voice dropping lower. "You think this is funny? Making a fool out of your own family?" I met his stare. You made a fool out of yourself. I just told the truth. For a few seconds, nobody spoke. The tension felt thick enough to choke on. Chris shifted near the car, pretending to check his phone, but clearly listening. Mom's tone turned pleading. Michelle, come home for a little while until this settles down. We'll figure things out. It's what's best for everyone. I shook my head. You said I couldn't stay there. You don't get to change your mind now. Dad took a step forward, voice rising again. We're still your parents. Family sticks together. Lisa snapped, her voice sharper now. You don't get to say that after you kicked her out on her birthday. Dad turned red. You don't know everything. I know enough, she cut him off. I know you lied to me. I know you dumped her here without warning. I know you told everyone she wanted it. That's all I need to know. He stared at her, fists clenching. You're turning her against us. She smirked. You did that yourself. At that moment, Lisa's phone buzzed on the table behind me. She reached for it, glanced at the screen, and smiled. Perfect timing. She'd already sent my grandparents a quick text the moment my parents stepped onto the porch. She hit the speaker button. Grandpa's voice filled the room, steady and clear. Lisa, are they there? Dad froze. Dad? Yes, it's me, Grandpa said, voice firm. We've already heard what's going on. Michelle's staying right where she is. You two need to stop showing up unannounced and let this girl live in peace. Mom's face fell. Dad, please! No, Grandpa said sharply. You had your chance. Now Lisa's handling it. We're proud of her for stepping up when you wouldn't. Lisa smiled faintly at me. Thanks, Frank. I'll take it from here. Grandma's voice joined in, softer but cutting. And tell that young man outside that we know exactly what he did. He's not welcome around our family. Chris, who'd been leaning against the car, immediately looked away and slid into the driver's seat. Dad's voice cracked. You're siding against your own children. Grandpa's tone stayed calm. No, we're standing up for the only one acting like an adult. The line went quiet for a few seconds before Lisa ended the call. Dad looked completely thrown off. He rubbed his forehead and said quietly, You'll regret this one day, Michelle. I didn't move. I already regret wasting so many years trying to please you. That was it. He turned, motioned for Mom to follow, and walked down the steps. She gave me one last look, somewhere between guilt and anger, before following him. Chris tried to look tough as he started the car, but misjudged the distance from the curb. The door scraped against it with a loud metallic thunk. Lisa actually laughed under her breath as they sped off. When the sound of the engine faded, she closed the door and locked it. The house went quiet again. She looked at me. You did good, kid. Didn't really do much, I said. Exactly, she said. Sometimes standing still says more than shouting. That week, the lawyer called. My parents hadn't filed an objection, so the court granted temporary guardianship to Lisa. It was fast, but enough for school and doctors. We'd handle the long-term order later. Aunt Lisa was officially my legal guardian. She made a small joke about how I'd better not start leaving dirty dishes around now that she owned me on paper. A few weeks later, Zoe showed up. She had the baby in her arms, tiny, wrapped in a yellow blanket. The smell of formula and baby powder filled the room. We sat at the small kitchen table while Lisa made tea. The baby hiccuped once, loud and sudden, and Zoe started laughing so hard she almost cried. It was the first time I'd seen her laugh in months. You're going to be the best aunt, she said, smiling tiredly. I'll try, I said. He deserves better than what we had. Yeah, she whispered. He will. When they left, the house felt peaceful. The kettle clicked off, and the faint sound of traffic outside mixed with the hum of the heater. I sat down at my desk and opened my phone camera again. I recorded a short video. Not emotional this time, just simple. Sometimes family isn't who raises you. It's who stands beside you when everyone else disappears. Pick those people. I didn't care if it went viral or not. I just wanted it out there. Later that night, I looked around the small room. The same cheap desk lamp, the hum of the streetlight outside, the faint smell of detergent. I didn't miss the old house. I missed the idea of what I thought family was supposed to be. But I wasn't lost anymore. I was home. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube, this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way. So, if you've ever been made to feel like you were the problem just for wanting respect, if you've ever been called ungrateful for asking to be treated fairly, hear me when I say this. You're not wrong for setting boundaries. You're not cruel for protecting your peace. You're not heartless for walking away from people who keep hurting you. Because sometimes choosing yourself is the only way to survive. For years, I thought love meant sacrifice. I thought keeping the peace meant staying quiet. I thought being the good daughter meant swallowing every insult, every dismissal, every guilt trip, just to keep my family comfortable. But real love doesn't demand silence. Real family doesn't threaten you when you say no. When I look back now, I realize something simple but powerful. What I lost wasn't family. It was control disguised as love. And what I gained? Freedom. Freedom to breathe without permission. Freedom to decide what kind of person I want to be. Freedom to build a life that doesn't revolve around keeping other people happy. I still get messages from strangers sometimes. Kids my age, adults twice my age, people who saw that video and said, "Same thing happened to me." It breaks my heart, but it also reminds me, I'm not alone, and neither are they. Aunt Lisa says the best revenge is peace, and maybe she's right, because peace is quiet, steady, and it doesn't need to prove itself. Now, when I walk into that little yellow house after school with its smell of lemon cleaner and lavender, I don't feel like a guest. I feel like I belong. There's laughter in the kitchen. The light through the window feels warm, not heavy. And when I close my door at night, it doesn't sound like goodbye anymore. It sounds like home. So yeah, my parents might still tell people I was rebellious or influenced by others. Let them. The truth is simple. They kicked me out to make space for someone who didn't deserve it, and I made space in my life for people who did. That's not rebellion, that's healing. And if you've ever been in my place, if you've ever been the one left out, written off, or replaced, please know this. You don't need their permission to start over. You don't need their apology to move forward. And you don't need to keep proving your worth to people who only see your usefulness. You just need one safe place, one person who believes you, one moment when you finally decide, enough. That's when everything changes. Because when you stop begging people to love you the right way, you start learning how to love yourself the way you always should have. And that more than anything is what saved me.